Now the outrageous! I won't stand for this!
They told us it was just another HOA fine. That's what they always say, right before your life explodes. One morning, I opened my mailbox and found 3 violation letters, all dated the same day. Same signature, same smug tone. Same threat at the bottom. Failure to comply may result in legal action. No warning, no conversation, just power abused. This HOA didn't just want compliance, they wanted control. Before I go any further, like this video, subscribe, share it with someone dealing with an HOA nightmare, and tell us where you're watching from in the comments. Trust me, if you've got an HOA, you'll want to stay for this one. This wasn't about grass height or paint color. This HOA board, led by a woman who treated the rules like a personal weapon, had been targeting homeowners quietly for years. Fines stacked overnight, liens threatened casually, intimidation disguised as procedure, neighbors whispered but never spoke publicly. People complied out of fear. One family lost savings, another almost lost their home, and every time someone pushed back, the HOA doubled down harder. But this time, they picked the wrong house. What they didn't know was that every letter, every threat, every shady board meeting was being documented, recorded, logged, preserved. While they thought they were untouchable, cracks were forming beneath them. This wasn't just a dispute anymore. It was about to become a legal case that would change how HOAs operate forever. At first, we did what everyone else did. We tried to be reasonable. Emails were sent, meetings were requested, proof was attached, but the HOA didn't respond like a governing body. They responded like a gang protecting territory. Our messages were ignored, our requests were lost, and suddenly the fines doubled. That's when we noticed the pattern. Rules were being enforced selectively. Homes identical to ours had no violations. Neighbors with connections to the board were untouched. But certain families, constant pressure, constant threats, constant stress. So we stopped arguing and started observing. Board meetings were a joke, closed-door sessions labeled emergency with no emergencies, votes taken without quorum, decisions made before discussions even started. One board member accidentally slipped up during a meeting and referenced a fine that hadn't been issued yet. That was the moment everything changed. We started documenting everything. Screenshots, audio, certified letters, meeting minutes that didn't match recordings, HOA bylaws that contradicted their actions. We even found fines issued without board approval, signed by one person who clearly enjoyed the power. Meanwhile, the HOA grew bolder. They sent a final notice threatening foreclosure over disputed fees. They assumed fear would keep us quiet, like it always had with everyone else. But fear had expired. What they didn't realize was that their paper trail had become a noose, and every new threat tightened it further. This was no longer about our home. This was about exposing a system that had been breaking people quietly for years. The HOA thought silence meant surrender. Instead, neighbors started knocking, quietly at first, late evenings, side conversations by the mailbox, people whispered stories they'd never told out loud, fines issued without notice, threats over lawn colors, special assessments that magically disappeared for certain homes, different houses, same pattern. That's when we realized this wasn't mismanagement, it was weaponized authority. One neighbor handed us a stack of letters identical to ours, same wording, same threats, same signature. Another showed bank statements proving she'd paid fines the HOA claimed were never received. A retired attorney down the street casually mentioned that half the board decisions violated state HOA statutes. And then came the mistake. The HOA sent a mass email meant for the board only. Attached were internal notes. They discussed targeting problem homeowners. They joked about fines being easy money. They admitted enforcement was flexible depending on who complained. That email detonated the neighborhood. People who had stayed neutral were suddenly furious. People who had been scared realized they weren't alone. And the board? They panicked. Emergency meetings, deleted files, a sudden policy review announcement that fooled absolutely no one. But once trust breaks, you can't glue it back together. What they didn't understand was this. HOAs survive on the illusion of legitimacy. The moment residents see behind the curtain, power evaporates, and now the curtain was on fire. Karen thought the worst was over when the judge cleared his throat. She was wrong. The punishment wasn't jail, it was exposure. The HOA was stripped of its private handling rights, and the court ordered a full forensic audit of the association, 10 years back. Every fine Karen issued, every selective warning, every dollar redirected into administrative costs was laid bare. The numbers didn't lie. Karen hadn't just abused power, she'd profited from it. Then came the part that broke her. The court ruled that Karen must personally reimburse every homeowner she had unfairly fined, with interest, not the HOA, not insurance, her. Retirement account liquidated, assets frozen. The woman who once threatened liens over grass length was now selling furniture online. But the humiliation didn't stop there. As part of the settlement, the HOA was legally required to hold a public transition meeting, streamed and recorded, where the audit results were read aloud. Name attached, decisions cited, motives explained, one by one. Homeowners Karen, once bullied, sat in the front row, silent, watching. She wasn't allowed to interrupt. Her title was revoked permanently. A lifetime ban from holding any HOA position in the state followed. And the final blow? The judge ordered that the official HOA handbook be rewritten, with a new clause informally nicknamed the Karen Rule, a rule created because of her. Her legacy wasn't power, it was a warning. Today, the neighborhood is calm, fair, transparent, and every time a new board member oversteps, someone casually says, "Careful, you don't want another Karen situation." And just like that, her name became a lesson. If you've ever dealt with a toxic HOA or a Karen like this, comment below. I want to hear your story. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next shocking HOA saga.